Today is Wednesday, November 16th, 2016. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor Millennials vs. Gen X, Episode 9.
This episode was titled Still Throwing Punches. And if you guessed Jay for who they took the title from, you would be correct.
Right.
Yeah. So that's 2 weeks in a row that they took the title from something he said.
Okay. Is that foreshadowing?
Previously on Survivor, at the old Gen X camp, there was a split. On one side, you had Chris, Bret, and Sunday, and on the other, you had David, Ken, and Jessica. But they put aside their differences, Jeff tells us, to form a majority with Adam, Zeke, and Hannah. And as was pointed out on the listener feedback show this week, you've really got 3 sets of 3 there.
Yep.
So that's going to make things interesting for sure down the road. And that majority formed to get rid of Michelle. Adam and Taylor began sharing secrets and questioned Adam's loyalty there. The majority decided to go ahead and trust Adam with Taylor, Jay, and Will out of the loop. So fairly straightforward retelling. I don't think there was anything new or special highlighted there, really. So that's good.
You know what I thought?
Because it always worries me when previously on Survivor deviates or something seems to be rewritten differently from how we perceived it. But this one's straightforward. That's always a good indicator for the edit.
The thing is I really don't know that I know where Zeke is. I mean, where is he really? Because you could make a case that he's in with different sets of 3 to make a 4th.
Right, yeah. He's probably best positioned in that regard, right?
Exactly.
Because he spans both of the Gen X triplets.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not really sure where he will land unless it gets him in trouble.
You know what I like about that? It gives him options, and we'll talk more about that when we do the JSFL update.
New USB.
Which we'll talk about when we get to the JSFL update.
Just did.
Always ignoring the temporal order.
Yes, well.
Just to spite me, right?
That's not spite.
Okay, I'm not the only aggravator sitting here on the love seat recording a podcast about the show we love the most.
No, you're the kingpin.
No, don't be putting me in a box with Jay. Jay's on the way out. I'm rising to the top of the JSFL side challenge. So.
Oh, yep. Well, that's not real.
See it and be it, as
fantasy.
Jay would probably say.
Okay, and we'll see what that gets you and Jay.
We're back at the Vinaka beach there on night 23, and Jay tells us that he lost the most valuable asset / person in Michelle that he had.
Yep.
And then he decides to, for some reason, or just because he can't help himself, because he does think a lot of himself, he decides to take a shot at Adam and congratulates him. Way to be on the bottom
of the Gen X.
Adam, yes. Man, maybe he was speaking to Zeke and Hannah too, but it seemed like it was really directed at Adam. Chris tells us he's happy for the results, but he notes that Adam scares him.
Yep.
He's not reliable.
Well, and Jay and Taylor laugh and about them, the Gen Xers trusting Adam.
Mm-hmm.
They find that humorous. But Taylor is concerned that Adam could tell about him where he buried the food and everything, or that he buried it.
Yeah.
Do you think
so they have a little side conversation?
Much he really took?
I'm positive they didn't. Yeah. And we didn't know either until right now. I think that's significant too, right? We had only seen him bury 1 jar, but here we find out that he's buried 2.
Yeah, and that he continues to put stuff in them, because one of the videos looked like he was adding more food to it.
It did?
So I thought it did.
Huh.
Thought he was still adding stuff in there.
Okay.
Maybe he just had some in his hand, put it back. I don't know, but that's just so wrong on so many levels.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest Survivor sins to steal food like that. But he obviously doesn't get it because he doubled down on it.
Somebody doesn't hurt him when they're hungry. Okay, Taylor tells Adam we'll keep each other's secrets.
Yep. And Adam acknowledges that he's on the bottom of the Gen X, but he says that's better than not being in the game at all. I got to agree with him on that one.
And Taylor said he stole half the food. Think he really stole half the food?
No, we saw how much was in there. What we're more confident of is that Taylor is quite at home with hyperbole. His version of reality is just that, his version. It seems to always be skewed.
I know somebody like that.
Okay, great. Now you want to compare me to him. Excellent. I think this is going to be like this all the way through.
Maybe.
That and cheering against me in whatever challenge I'm in.
We're already late. So.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Taylor's convinced that's his best idea ever to steal all that food. He's eating some soggy pretzels and working his way. He hadn't eaten all the stuff out of his first jar yet.
Okay, moving along to day 24.
Beautiful sunrise.
Hannah
Another one.
tells us she didn't want to be a goat, so that's why she shook things up.
Good on her. Yeah, she has a one-on-one there with Jay, and she said she had to find a way out of that hole.
Put her game in her own hands.
What are you feeling watching this here, since she's still your USB?
Well,
she says she's finally getting it together. This is her day.
She has the chance to make more moves, which
getting to play
is kind of scary. Yeah, I actually do not and did not expect Hannah to win, but I just, like Rhonda said, I decided to just take the easy route and stick with those possible.
Rhonda's chuckling to herself right now.
She's like, I knew she'd do that.
Yep.
She knows me better than I know me.
I loved what Jay did right here. His response to her, excellent. Great example of fantastic gameplay when you're playing from the bottom. He picked up on how Hannah felt this was significant, and it seemed sincere. I don't know if it was true or not, but it seemed sincere when he said, hey, I'm proud of you. High five. No low five. High five. You did fantastic.
I think if Jay could play that way throughout the game.
If he could get out of his own, the way of his ego.
But he doesn't.
Well, yeah. He does think a lot of himself, and that trips him up.
You mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so reward challenge. What do you think about that?
Pretty straightforward. The bolos, solid. That looks fun. Yeah, and you really, I don't know. I don't have anything to say about the challenge other than to repeat what Prope said. First big blowout of the season, and Hannah is awful at picking teams. So Hannah's riding a high, comes into the challenge. She's like, I'm a captain. I'm playing. I'm making moves. Here we go. And I picked my team, and my team never got out of the net. If you looked at that overhead shot at the end of the challenge, that box was solidly halfway under
the net.
They didn't even get to play. They didn't have the physical wherewithal to get to the end, to the last stage of the challenge.
She was even starting to coach them.
Yes. Pull together. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
And then she realized it was a lost cause right at the end.
Yeah. So
I think that's the bigger part of the story. What a reward. I mean, those are big, big stakes, to the point that I thought, and I ask you, is Adam going to steal this?
Before we get there, Taylor was the only one of the Millennials to end up on that team.
Okay.
And I thought, would he throw it for the other? And I thought,
when food was at stake.
What am I thinking? What was I thinking?
Exactly. Yes.
Well, I thought it could be a good strategic move for the immunity challenge for him to throw it right there at the end. He pretty much had control of that. He could have thrown it and weaken the Gen Xers for the immunity challenge. But
I see
you
what
could
you're saying.
tell that he
was never
not
in the cards. No, definitely
not.
not
Happening. No problem.
At the end, Hannah informs us that she was on such a high, but she picked a horrible team, and so she's going to have to regroup. Did you? So you're optimistic there for a few beats, and now she's kind of back to old Hannah.
Not really.
No.
No. Like I said, my opinion was I don't think Hannah can win, but I don't know who can. And I struggled a couple days.
Why would you stay with someone you just said couldn't win?
Because my thought is that, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she can win. Maybe we're wrong. She could win. She could be, a sleeper.
She's gonna Amanda it worse than Amanda's ever Amanda did.
going to unravel it. I do
She
think
starts to hyperventilate at tribal council. Every time something
know,
exciting
but-
happens. How would she make it through a final tribal?
maybe that will encourage people to vote for her. Poor Hannah.
Sympathy. All right. We need to give her the million so she can get some
Whatever.
help.
There you go.
Yeah.
Actually,
That's
I just
a
thought
staggering
I think,
strategy you've
I
developed.
do think that she could get to the final three.
Oh, I have no doubt. You're looking at just what did Josh call her? The fainting goat. Absolutely, she could get
Well,
there.
you know who my four were that I was debating.
Yeah.
And I thought Sunday might have a chance because the Millennials like her. And so I thought, well, she could have a slight chance. But I thought Jessica could be a sleeper.
Can't hold it till the JSFL update.
And yet, I didn't think Adam was going to make it. I just really felt like you want to cheer for Zeke, but something just makes me feel like he's not going to. They're not going to let him get anywhere near the finals. But then I thought, well, if I don't vote for Hannah or the Sunday and Jessica, then I'm going to go with David. And I just didn't know if I wanted to give up Hannah to go with David, even though I think David could win.
Okay, we're at the reward. We're poolside. And Taylor tells
You
us
asked.
that his senses are overloaded. My bad. Sorry about that.
There you go.
Taylor tells us his senses are overloaded at the bonanza of food. The cornucopia. See how I worked that
Yes,
in? The cornucopia of food that's laid out on the table ahead of them there. Quite seasonal of me, don't you think?
Yes.
He says it was a crazy amount of food, and because he's been busy stretching his stomach with stolen food, he's in the best possible position to partake, which I got that was Taylor logic on the TL scale. That was a 10 solid. Bret's having a good time.
Then we see him eating an apple.
Yeah, that was kind of odd, wasn't it?
I thought,
With all of your choices. I mean, those burgers, those were some fat
that was
burgers.
the biggest burger I've ever seen.
Those are like 2 inches thick. Those
I
are
think
awesome.
one of those would have made you sick from eating.
Well, that's okay.
Whoa,
So that's
man.
a question for Taylor, right? We got to
Okay,
ask.
Okay.
Was he the winner? Did he pack in the most food, or how did he fare when Chris got the engine running? We know Chris emptied 5 plates when they had the chef, and that was no
That's true.
small amount of food. So let's see if he went Hulk on the food there again. All right, so there we go. See, we're just barely into it here, and we got a question for Taylor, and we were worried we are going to come up empty. Bingo. Who packed in the most food?
You weren't supposed
That's
to say
staggering. Strategically. This is, I said we would have a proportional response to his
Okay.
commitment to the game, and I think we nailed it there.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So Chris tells us, speaking of Chris, that Bret just knocked back about 9 drinks. He was having a good time. Got louder and louder. It was like Adam at a confessional. Cranked the volume
Okay,
up.
you're going to make me start coughing.
Snort. We got our first snort.
Okay.
Sunday tells us it is an odd group because she doesn't trust David or Jessica or Ken, and the Gen Xers are fractured.
She seemed to be the one that couldn't pull herself out of the game
Yeah.
to enjoy that. I mean, she ate and all
Well, I
that.
don't think
but-
she was knocking them back with Bret, so
No,
she
I didn't
didn't
think she was
get
doing
all
that.
loosened up.
But she did. She was still thinking game.
Yeah, and
Bret wasn't thinking
she's
game. He was just
way
enjoying.
ahead of herself here. Way
I
ahead.
thought so too. And she tells us, well, we're fractured. We don't trust the other three.
And she thinks she needs to be proactive and take control, and this is her moment, and she's
Well-
pulling an Adam. This is what we're going to call it this season. She's pulling an Adam.
That could work for her or that could hurt her. So we shall see. And let's see.
Back at Vinaka.
Yes, Jay tells us that he lost the reward.
Well, he's on a losing streak. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so. And he's going to have to talk to Adam.
Okay, what was your take on how this transpired? According to Jay, he was majorly disrespected in this conversation.
Well, we didn't hear, I don't think we heard that.
No, we didn't.
I think Adam actually didn't mean to say what he said. I think it slipped
when he
out.
said Taylor is the reason you're on the bottom.
Yeah, and then Jay jumped on that, and he was like, "Oh, well, yeah, of course you are." But I don't think he actually meant to say that. I could be
Now,
wrong.
Adam didn't handle it with kid gloves for sure.
No, he
Because
didn't.
when Jay questioned him on, so I am there, Adams was giving him the, isn't it obvious given how the votes went down? Are you thinking? Maybe he had a little bit of snark in that, but it wasn't overloaded, and they didn't let us see him be a jerk to Jay on that.
Mm-hmm. However, that's how Jay portrayed it to Will, Hannah, and Zeke.
Yeah, said that Adam had rubbed it in his face. Unfortunately for Adam, because of his erratic gameplay, Hannah and Zeke are all too quick to agree. And Zeke tells Will and Jay that he wanted Adam out the day before.
And Hannah substantiated that for him.
Yeah, and Zeke tells us in a confessional that Adam can't be smart. He has to gloat. So he took Jay at his word that Adam was gloating and rubbing his nose in it.
Well, Zeke basically said Adam is an idiot.
Yes, or don't be an idiot. Yeah. Okay, next day. This is a 2-day cycle for this episode. Only 2 days, 24 and 25. Yeah. Great sunrise. 14 days left, they tell us. And this is Sunday can't get off this. She's dead set on making a move. And she tells us that she's friends with Jessica. They got the mom thing in common, but she's got to get rid of her. She just senses a big threat there.
Well, she thinks Jess is after her. And we don't really know because we hadn't heard enough from Jess to know what she thinks.
As usual, yeah, we've never gotten a whole lot on the ladies here. And whenever we do, that lady leaves, right?
So you're saying Sunday's leaving?
Lucy is a great example there.
So she recruits Jay and Will.
What is that about? Well, did she recruit Will? Because she goes and talks. Jay and Will and Taylor are there, but she has the real discussion with Jay, which I think would be telling Will that he's obviously not on equal ground there. Right? That should be a big code there, right? A big red flag for Will that when Sunday comes to talk, he wasn't included. At least the way that the edit played out for us.
Yeah.
And Sunday tells Jay that she's going to push for Jess today. And tells Jay to plan for her to, line your votes up that way with you and Taylor and Will. Jay tells us he's going to stay positive and he's going to give good to get good. Well, which is a little bit of a folly in the philosophy, don't you think? I think that maybe that's the folly of youth. It's like you give.
I don't remember youth.
You want to put, it's been a while for both of us. You want to put the positive out there, but you really shouldn't be expecting something in return.
Yeah. But
you do that because it makes you feel good to do good. But if you're doing it with the expectation that you'll get it in proportion back to you, you haven't figured out the contract right.
That was just his hope because at this point, Jay realizes he doesn't have anything to lose to go along with whoever. As long as it's not me, I'll vote for whoever you tell me to. He's not even pushing the Adam vote. He's just like, who do you want me to vote for?
Right. It's always a proper response when you're in that scenario.
Whatever you tell me, that's who I'll vote for.
When you're on the outs, yes.
And so I think that's exactly what he should be doing.
On the whole, it's a good response, which is I'm gonna go in there and hope for the best.
Immunity challenge. Yeah,
the behind the scenes video for this one this week told us this one was called the Bo Diddley because it was like a bow, and they're always doing musically based names for the challenges, and Bo Diddley was a famous musician.
I know. I met him once in an airport.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I don't remember you telling me that.
In North Carolina once.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
So you got to say hello? You got a picture or something?
No, I don't think I got a picture. I didn't have a cell phone.
Wasn't as common?
No, this was some time ago.
Sorry about that. Okay, so they got to balance this ball on this arch-like bow structure as they stand on this tenuous little rail that gets smaller and smaller as they proceed through the different stages. And I loved it. Boom, temptation. This was great. Although the people who chose to take the temptation were probably the best people to take the temptation. No one cared about them in a way, right? And Will had one of the best explanations that you can give in that scenario, although, not going after immunity
Yeah.
is a hard one.
For a lot of people, I think they would resent that he's not fighting, so why not just take him out then? If he didn't want to stay any more than that. I don't think Zeke was in any danger because he has more alliance.
It's in a huge majority
he did not get to
right
go
now.
eat. The others got to eat.
The same thing for Will.
Yeah.
Right, neither one of them got to
Yeah.
eat, and they just couldn't turn it down when you got all the alphas, all the people who were so good.
We saw
Yeah.
Bret going, I should have chosen to eat.
Yes, he lamented. He went out second after your USB.
Yep,
Hannah went out
Hannah.
in the first round. So, and Probst was quick to emphasize that she could not
Okay.
partake,
I really
and to
wanted
double check to make
see-
sure that Will wasn't drinking beer.
This is tracing back a little,
Mm-hmm.
but I really did want to see if Hannah or Jessica could get one of the bolas around the pole.
Okay, duly noted.
Because I'm not sure what challenges Hannah would be good at.
It wasn't that
Or
one.
Jessica either, for that
I
matter.
don't think she would have done that
Well, I
either.
think she can do puzzles, but
Yeah,
I
maybe.
don't know about Hannah.
No, there would be risk of a medical
I love
issue
Hannah anyway.
if Hannah got near the bolo.
So,
She'd very likely crack herself in the head,
oh yeah,
go
that would
down.
hurt.
Probst would be given the real medical.
Oh, you're mean.
That's just
Mean.
reality
Okay,
there.
let's go back to the immunity challenge.
All right, so let's see. Hannah's out first, then Bret, and yeah, he's looking
And then
at Zeke's
Jess.
beer. Yep, then Jessica joins third.
And Sunday right behind her.
Yeah, so Sunday, David, Chris all went quickly. Adam struggles, recovers, and then he's out.
Jay behind him, and then Taylor.
Yep. No, well, yeah, it went down to, let's break it down this way. It went down to Taylor versus
Yes,
Ken.
darling.
Because you want to highlight Taylor saving it
I do.
and whistling,
Yes.
right? So he was showing how effortless it was or how casually he was approaching it. And sure enough, he rescued it, but then he couldn't do it again and he was out the way it played out.
Yeah, I was very afraid when Ken started losing a little balance that
Yeah,
he was going to go out.
I think we
but-
both puckered up a little bit right there, tightened up and said, whoa, we don't want Taylor to have
I
immunity
would've-
because we had him going.
I would have liked to have chosen Ken, but I thought...
You're back
oh,
talking about
he's-
your USB choice?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's so good at everything. I just can't see them letting him go that deep.
I'm gonna
Because who could beat him on
guess
most
there's
anything?
a lot of Ken support in the USB category. You're gonna give us the totals on that when we
I will.
actually get to that
I
section.
will.
Yes.
I'll stop talking about my choices and talk about other people.
And after that, Jay tells us, well, it's either him or Taylor tonight, and their life is in Sunday's hands.
Yeah, you're giving her an awful lot of power there, Jay.
And to her credit, she reached out.
She did.
She's the only one they showed us making that play.
Yeah, but my thought was, I don't know that she has that much power. Except with Bret and Chris.
Yeah, not even there. I don't think she's.
Yeah.
I don't think they think of her in equal terms there. Not that she wouldn't get chosen over one or the other, because they would choose the weaker choice, the less initiative.
So they talk about it. They decide to split the vote between Taylor and Jay, which I thought was a smart move. However,
Just a quick note when they get back.
I'm sorry.
When everybody's good job, Ken tells us his knee's hurting him. So that's something to keep in mind. David's telling him, hey, hit the hammock, rest it up. But okay, yep. Yeah, David says we need to split it. At which point you realize, wheel's safe.
Yes, which made me very happy because I chose him as safe.
Sunday and Bret have a quick conversation. She tells us she doesn't want to write Jay, and Bret talks her down a little, I think, off the ledge there. They agree that they'll go after Jessica next time, which still seems like too soon.
Yeah.
Right? There are plenty of people to work with in terms of you got 3 other millennials that are in your majority alliance. When it's time for the 2 Gen X triples to go after each other, they've got plenty to work with. You don't need Jay, you don't need Will, you don't need Taylor. So, but in any case, Bret talks her off that ledge for now.
And Taylor shares his food with Jay.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if I missed it, but Sunday went and told him, right? She told Jay it's either you or Taylor after that conversation
Yes,
with
she did.
Bret. Which, so she's doing good managing that Jay jury vote in that regard, assuming he's headed that way. Yeah, so Taylor shares his food, and he shares his secret.
Yep, or Adam's secret.
Yeah.
He shares both their secrets.
Yes.
Isn't that sweet? Okay, so his comment, well, people already know I steal food. It's like, dude, I can't believe they haven't made more out of that. I thought Ken would just take him and shake him or something. And I'm sure he's having to bite his tongue because he really wanted him out last week. So
Yeah, he did.
anyway,
It's hard to deal with, but I don't think they knew the extent of what he had done.
Well, here's where I said, oh, he's not going to tell them before tribal. I think that was a big mistake. Had he told them before tribal and they had time to discuss it, they might have made a different choice. But once they got to tribal, I thought, they're not going to change.
You're talking about Taylor
their vote.
with Adam's secret
Yes.
about his advantage. Okay.
Yes, I am.
Sorry.
And I thought they're not going to change once they get there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have to be something way more than that. Now, will they talk about it and possibly go after him later? Sure. But I thought he made a mistake not telling them before tribal council.
I was hoping that Jay was going to handle this differently, but he didn't. He did himself no favors
I
with
agree.
encouraging, with deciding to throw in with Taylor on this. I think it was smart to get Taylor fired up and make Taylor make himself a big target with Adam. I think that was sharp.
Well, and Jay kind of kicked things off, saying that when Jeff talked to him about the last vote off, and he said as a fan, he really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But that he would like to write Adam's name down again. So he kind of kicked that off, I think, to encourage Taylor to talk about it.
Well, you skipped over one part where he was talking about, just before that, he was talking about how crappy it was to be on the outs now.
Mm-hmm.
And Adam chimed in and said, welcome to the club.
True.
So Adam threw some gas on that fire, for sure. Now, Adam's response was sincere. He definitely got to experience that early on, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Well, and were you surprised when Chris said, hey, you could work your way back? There's cracks.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Why is he telling that?
I don't know.
I guess it's obvious they haven't played it up as much until this week for us that the Gen Xers were still very divided.
I don't know why you would trot that crack in the majority alliance out there
Exactly.
for your enemy to see. That just
To go,
doesn't.
oh, okay.
Unless you're being cruel.
And encourage him to fight. Well, fight your way back. I was like, okay, I find that odd.
Well, it worked for Taylor. It was definitely a catalyst for him. He jumped right on it and tells everyone, hey, I stole food. I took 2 jars, and Adam helped me do it.
And he helped me eat it.
At this point, Hannah begins to hyperventilate, which is another indication how she might handle final tribal. And he's not going to stand for that. He's like, no, you're lying. You're straight up lying. Never ate anything. I kept your secret.
So what do you think about Taylor's strategy of telling his secret before he revealed Adam's? So Adam didn't have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, he went on the attack for sure. He also drug his buddy with him, which I may explain the way Jay opted to vote, because he didn't just say that. He didn't stop with, I stole food, 2 jars worth, and hid it and have been eating it. And Adam's been helping me. He said, Jay and I ate it all today. We ate the rest of it. And that really, how much there was and where it was, all that really sparked the rest of the tribe's interest for sure.
Well, and that he didn't just tell about Adam's secret. He said, really pointed out, he could steal your loved one visit.
Very smart. Very smart. Adam handed that, put that on a platter, and gave it to Taylor.
Yep.
You didn't even need Jay to coach Taylor to say it that way. Adam had said it that way himself.
To him, yes.
Laid it right out there.
I could do this. I thought, boy, talk about come back and bite you in the behind.
Yes. Well, Probst chimes in. Now that's a bomb. There you go. That is the definition of a bomb, right?
He was loving that.
Absolutely. Yep. But then he goofs it up just a couple beats after that, because he says, well, is what Taylor's doing in stealing and eating food, is that just a millennial move? He asked Jessica.
It's like,
he's just like, he can't let go of that theme at this point. Come on. Episode 9, where are we? Day 25. Let it go. That's our thing, right? Go frozen, let it go.
Yeah, totally. It didn't need to be brought up in that way again, and especially at that.
That is an error of youth, right? Or an error of just, like Chris had said before, selfishness and consideration of others. It's got nothing to do with what generation he's from. Please stop. That's all we ask. Stop.
So how did you feel about the way Jay covered it with, saying that he was mad at both of them and that he was there to play the game, blah, blah. Did he help himself or hurt himself?
I think he got a little upset because of what Probst did. So maybe Probst's characterization worked because Jessica responded, well, that's not how I was raised. It's not how Chris was raised or Bret or Sunday, and she starts going through the Gen X's, and that gets Jay fired up because he's totally, he took the bait on this generation theme thing and chimes in and says, well, I'm not a regular dumb surfer, which is a diss to his buddy there, Taylor, sitting beside him.
I don't think he realized it at the time. He didn't seem to.
Yeah, he did. He followed it right up with no offense or something like that.
Well, I think because Taylor turned and looked at him.
Yeah.
He was kind of laughing, but...
I liked Adam's response. I think he handled himself okay here, although this is a huge mess for him for sure. And he just kept firing back with, Jay, you ate the food. You stole from the tribe. I may have an advantage, but you don't know what I'm going to do or how I'm going to use it or if I'm even going to use it, but you committed a sin against the tribe. You ate the food.
Well, could this work in Adam's favor? Could people now go, hey, if you get this reward, tell us how that works, and could you bring me along? Would you bring me along? They might want to keep him close because he has it.
I don't know if it's something we can ask Taylor or not, but we'll ask them the way we always ask about questions at Tribal Council. But what I wanted to see from Adam is him say, we'll totally talk about it. I'm going to figure out a way that will work for everyone.
Yeah, that's why I say he could turn this around to an advantage.
It's still possible. So that it's not going to hurt him, because right now it's hurting him.
Right.
He needs to nullify as much of that as possible. Hannah tells us, well, Survivor's just not that simple. She dropped some wisdom bombs on us before we vote.
Well, what I found interesting was, and I think was most damaging to Adam, is that he was sharing that much information with Taylor. And everybody thinking he was with them, and yet he's over telling Taylor all of his secrets.
They're keeping secrets with Taylor.
So how can they trust him?
Because that's a whole double-edged sword.
Exactly.
In the sense of it's Taylor, too. The mere fact that it was Taylor is going to hurt Adam, right? That stink comes off on Adam because of that, for sure.
Well, realistically...
Not only are you not straight up with me or worth my trust, but you picked like the worst possible guy to play with.
Him?
Yeah.
Hello.
Where's your judgment that you thought this was smart play?
Okay, and the biggest surprise for me, we do the vote. The biggest surprise for me of the night.
Jay didn't play.
Exactly. Nobody. I
was right there with you.
Idol. Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, oh, he's not. Wow, what does he know? Maybe he really Sunday said, this is what we're doing, and he believed her enough not to use it.
Well, he threw a little insurance in.
Well, voting for Taylor. Sure.
Yes, he did. So the votes go down. Jay, Taylor, and Adam all get one, and then it just trades back and forth, Jay, Taylor,
well,
and then Taylor cranks it out.
The interesting thing is that Will went along with the vote as well because he voted Jay.
Yep.
So he obviously voted the way they told him to. Somebody told him who to vote for, and
maybe not.
Yeah. You think
he made his choice?
That he didn't know any of this stuff?
Well, wouldn't you want to distance yourself from Jay at this point,
Absolutely.
Given what just went down? Because Jay got some of that on him for
Adam, sure. Any of those.
Yes.
I would be running for the hills if I were him.
Jay, what I found interesting, adding on to what you said, Jay voted for Taylor, but they didn't show Jay's vote.
To Taylor, in front of Taylor, you mean?
Right. It was one of the ones that didn't need to be counted because there was enough and Taylor was out.
Mm-hmm.
And we know they ordered those votes.
Yeah.
They put thought into whose they're going to show.
That's not
And
news.
exactly What? So they didn't put that in front of Taylor.
Well, because at that point, it could be said they were influencing the age you remember.
I don't know. It just.
But come on,
okay, I got
surely
one
he
for you.
will.
Did you
Okay.
believe Taylor?
Did I believe him? What do you mean? About what?
He's on his way out. Says sorry for stealing the food.
Oh, no.
Nope, not at all.
He's not at all sorry.
No.
I'm not even sure why he felt compelled to say it, because he wasn't.
Probst did a good summary here. Hey, a lot of times what happens here at Tribal Council is about strategy. Sometimes it's just about consequences. You got to pay for what you did. And Taylor did something just heinously wrong
Yes.
when people are starving to steal and hoard
Absolutely.
food on a scale that they had not even imagined.
Yep.
Okay, next time on Survivor, you good for that?
Yep, David, Ken, and Jess are voting for Chris.
Probst tells us the Gen Xers are imploding. This is the crack.
Chris, Sunday, and Bret, and Zeke want to go after Jess. Well, I think Zeke was just there. I'm not sure what Zeke wants, because he says it's the Gen X Civil War. So I think Zeke's going to pick and choose, and that he has the ability to do that. I just hope he doesn't get caught in the...
It's unfortunate, right? Because it could not go well for him
Yes,
to have to shine a light on his choice at this stage. If he, master level play would be somehow to quash that Gen X Civil War and go, we don't have to do that. If he could suss out that it was Sunday and maybe have a conversation with Sunday, maybe...
Okay, is it smart of Will that he goes to Zeke to tell that Jay has the idol instead of going to, say, Sunday or, someone else? Does he keep some of the target off him if he's the one that tells Zeke and Zeke passes it along?
So that cuts both ways. Mm-hmm. You don't get the credit.
Yeah.
I don't think you really get the credit because, as we see, it gets passed around a lot of people, and David shares with multiple folks. And David, was it to Hannah? He says, did you hear about what Zeke said, right? That Jay has the idol. So Will's losing out. Probably Will did that out of comfort, but it would have been a bigger play for him to reach out to someone else and maybe make a connection instead of take the path of least resistance and take it to Zeke. So I think that really isn't a plus. Sorry, it's shorten it up. He really missed an opportunity, and it wasn't the best way he could handle it.
I'm really not.
Good for Zeke, my boy.
Yeah, I'm really not certain who Zeke and Hannah are with. I just don't know.
Certainly they have options.
Can blow different ways. So
yeah, like we said in the beginning, Zeke's got more choices. He's got more connections.
Yes, and Will is very aware that he has to scramble and to, distance himself from Jay.
So yeah, on the plus column for Will, it's going to be one of those situations where he gets to live another day. So yeah, good on you for sharing that, but you're not going to, at the end of the big total, you're not going to really have anything in your column because of it.
Okay.
You can say it, but socially, the person who's going to get credit for it is Zeke. Anything else you want to say about next time on Survivor?
I don't think so. I think we covered that.
Yeah, so I think now's a good time, though, in terms of next time on Survivor, to say that the episode next week is going to be a double. So we're going to get 2 episodes, 2 hours. Yeah, and this has happened in the past before. So, okay.
Yes. Exciting. Yeah, they've done that on...
Well... Sometimes it works really well. Sometimes it can seem a little boring if the crushing of the minority alliance gets drawn out. If the pagonging just slowly goes.
They have used it to, bam, bam.
I think it's coincidental. I don't think they're using it because that implies some kind of oversight and control. But when that's happening, it's a great way to get through it. And we know we need some doubles to get the season down for the finale. So we're definitely going to get a double next week. Just leading into JSFL, we'll circle back and say it again. Yeah. The website's set up for that, so you'll need to pick 2 vote-out picks because of that. But speaking of JSFL, how about an update?
3 people are tied for first.
Okay.
There were 9 USBs lost. 185 people gained a vote-off point for Taylor, and 32 people lost a safe point.
I think a lot of people were resolved, much like you and I, to continue to put his name as a vote-out until that food thief was gone.
Yep.
'Cause we needed that food karma to come through.
Yeah,
there.
that was the easy part this week.
Mm-hmm.
Was that, and I thought we both went a little risky with our safe picks, but because I think I had Jay and Will as safe.
did I. Yep.
I was like, I'm gonna try to get one more point off.
Yeah,
him.
exactly.
It bit me the last 2 weeks though, in a row, but
But worked for you this week. Good
that's
job.
right.
Okay, keep going.
As far as the challengers, in the lead with 40 is Jeremiah. With 39, we have Brandon and Cold Mike. With 38, Aaron. 37, Hubaloo, James and Shannon, Noom, and Stacy.
All right.
36, Iron Dave. With 35, Carolyn, Jonathan, Kitty Cat, and Tyler.
Wow, the bottom spread out.
Yep.
Some people got hurt this week.
Or someone moved up.
I didn't
from
even
last
say
week,
it. Thank
so.
you. Thank you very much. Like it.
It wasn't you. You're
Uh-huh.
still right.
Moved up.
No, you didn't. You're right in the middle where you were before.
I moved up over some other folks.
You were already there.
I don't think so. Not all those.
Yeah, well, I don't know
See?
about that. But,
See?
But you've stayed in the middle.
No, I haven't. I've
Just
started at the bottom and
middle of
moved
the
up.
road guy.
My bold play
There's no bold play.
in my. We just said it was bold. I had Jay safe.
I never said
Had Will
bold.
safe.
No.
You may not have said bold, but you meant bold. You're acknowledging that
Actually,
you made a bold
no.
play.
No.
Yes, just so happened.
It
So
was
did
risky. But, okay, forget the bold. Okay, let's go to...
I. How did this shift in USBs play out? Who's number one?
Zeke.
I knew it. Everybody
Zeke,
jumped on that train with me.
98 people, or you jumped on with them. 98 people from 54 before.
Big jump. So he doubled.
Yeah. Number 2, David with 42. He had 29 before.
Wow. Now I didn't see that.
I did. I told you he would have been my pick. I think he can win.
Come on, you stuck with Hannah. Your credibility
I know.
really iffy
It
right
doesn't
now.
matter. It was the 24 points. Couldn't give them up. Rhonda was right. I couldn't give them up.
Yes.
That's it. Okay, Ken with 36 people. He had 17 before.
All right.
Adam.
So he doubled too.
Yep, he went up.
I really
Adam.
thought Kim was going to go higher.
Are you going to let me read this?
Well, it's a back and forth. We're in this
Okay.
together.
Okay. Adam went down from 33 to 27.
Does not surprise me. People lost faith in him.
Yep. Brett has 19 people down from 23. Chris has 15 down from 16. Jessica 15 up from 9.
Wow. What are you guys thinking with Jessica?
I told you I thought
I know.
she could
I just don't know what
sneak
you're
in.
thinking.
Just sneak in.
Yeah.
She's laying back
Way
doing
under the
nothing.
radar.
And she has an
You
advantage.
you invoked Sophie, but she's
Advantage.
not Sophie.
I know she's not Sophie.
I met Sophie. She's no Sophie.
Yes, I know. You met Sophie. Yes, you got to hang out with Sophie.
I did.
And
I could tell you Jessica is no Sophie.
and you helped her when she needed some. So
There's some people who
You
got
were
my
good.
reference. They know what I was doing right there.
Okay. Hannah still has
She gained
11.
one.
She gained a person. Wonder if that was Mike K. He liked Hannah. Anyway, Hannah went up one person. Taylor, of course, as we said, went down from 17 to 9. Jay went up from 5 to 6.
Yeah, I kind of get some of that hopefulness, I suppose.
Sunday went down half from 2 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And Will
I think that's someone who forgot to update their
Will went up
picks. Will did?
from 3 to 4.
Okay, cool.
So somebody thinks he has a chance to hang
Yeah,
in there.
well, I totally get that.
Well, and he does if everybody starts picking off everybody
Yes,
in the other.
yes, such a
They could
strategically bad
forget
idea,
about him or
timing-wise.
use him.
And maybe they just really like cheering for him, because that part I get. Sometimes it's just fun to pick
Sure.
someone and go with them.
Absolutely. And I don't know that it'll be fun to stay with Hannah. But I
Well, I
thought,
think
but
you
what
had
if she won?
quite a blast
That would
this
be-
episode.
That would be so
Staggering.
cool if she
Not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm certainly not expecting it to happen. But if it did, it would be cool.
Okay. In the end, math won for you. The bigger numbers. Cool. Well, we're excited to hear what you thought about episode 9. Taylor's finally gone. You think that was the right choice, or should they have targeted Jay?
Oh, Taylor all the way.
Yeah.
But
this question's for the other fans,
well,
sweetie,
no, I have
not
to say
you.
something else. Be
Okay.
quiet.
Yes.
The upsetting thing is that they didn't flush the idol.
True. Yes, dear. You're right. Well,
Yeah,
Jay
they
kind of
split,
helped.
but they didn't flush it.
Jay was helping make sure that didn't happen.
Well, I was getting all excited thinking, oh, he's going to go home with the idol in his pocket.
That
'Cause
would've
would have
been-
been fun, too.
That would have. We're curious, obviously, what you thought would have been fun had it happened in this episode and what you're looking forward to in 10 and 11, which we'll get next week, and how you think the game's stacking up now. Are the Gen Xers really going to let this tear them apart? Are they going to get divided at this stage just because Sunday has got some kind of grudge against Jessica?
Well, obviously, the others are thinking of getting rid of Chris, which I figured they would at some point, get rid of Chris and Bret because they're bigger threats to Ken and David and Jessica. So, I don't know. I think it's just too soon.
I definitely want to ask Taylor how the Gen Xers were interacting, right? Because Taylor had some kind of a connection with Ken. Ken told us that he thought of Taylor as a mini Ken. So maybe Taylor was able to get some sense of where Ken felt like he stood when they got back, if he was being listened to now.
They must have had some semblance of trust in Taylor to let him be the one to do the final leg of that reward challenge. They didn't think he would throw it.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe you're onto something there. I don't know. I think they were just like, he's really good at these kind of things, and we're going to use Ken's extra strength to get this thing through the net.
We're talking again.
Yes. The feedback is due Saturday, noon Pacific time. Keep it in that 3-minute range, whether you choose to write it up. You said a page is about 3 minutes for us to read it out, right? Mm-hmm. Generally, which is a lot. You don't have to use all 3. Some people hit their points in 20 seconds, 30 seconds.
I think they can figure that out.
Okay.
You're all nice and warm now. It's cozy.
Okay. Let me get through this, and we can move on
Zed's
to.
waking up. You better do it
He's
quick.
stretching. Yep, he'll be up here
Here he
before
goes.
you know it. All right. So wrapping it up. You can record your own audio and send that in, or we got a voicemail line where you can call in and we make it simple there. Quality is not always the greatest with that, depending on your end of the connection and our voicemail connection, but it certainly is an easy way to do it. The voicemail number 206-350-1547. There's also a toll-free 844-643-8737 if you need that. And the email is Joanne and Stacy Show. Sure enough, he's coming up.
Hey,
Joanne and
buddy.
Stacy Show at gmail.com. And you can find all that at the website getsfp.com. We look forward to hearing your thoughts on this episode, how it played out, what observations you made, what kind of life experience you could relate to maybe that you saw, and then what you think that we can look forward to in episodes 10 and 11 next week.
Oh, boy.
Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
Have a good one.
Good night, everybody.